The fog came like a living thing, not slowly, not the way morning mist rolls across fields back home. This was different. This was the Hurtgen Forest in November of 1944, and the fog didn't creep. It descended, heavy, thick, the color of an old bone. I was there when my platoon walked into it. 32 men. I knew every name, every face, every hometown. I'd share cigarettes with them, jokes, and fear. We'd bled together in that green hell of tangled furs and blown stumps. We'd learned to sleep standing up because the ground was mud and bodies. But I never learned how to find them in the fog. By nightfall, I couldn't see the man 3 feet ahead of me. By morning, I was alone, completely alone. And the worst part wasn't the silence. The worst part was the sounds that came through it. Voices I recognized, calling names I knew. Shots from directions that made no sense. The wet crunch of boots on snow that might be ours, might be theirs, might be ghosts. We thought we knew what war was. We'd seen the hedgerows of Normandy. We'd pushed through French villages and German pillboxes. We thought we understood fear. We were wrong. Fear is watching your unit disappear into white nothing. Fear is taking one step forward and losing sight of the man you were following. Fear is turning around to ask a question and finding empty air where your sergeant stood 2 seconds ago. His name was Hennessy. Good man from Pittsburgh. Kept a photograph of his daughter in his helmet liner. She was 4 years old. Had his eyes. I never saw him again after the fog came. Let me tell you what that does to a man. Let me tell you what happens when the world becomes 6 feet of visible horror and infinite unknown, when every shadow might be salvation or slaughter, when the only thing worse than being alone is realizing you're not. The forest was already a nightmare before the fog. 50 square miles of German fir trees so dense that daylight couldn't reach the ground. The kind of darkness that makes noon look like dusk. We'd been pushing through it for 11 days, and every yard cost blood. The trees were so thick you couldn't walk upright. You had to crouch, crawl, move through them like rats in a green maze. Sergeant Hennessy used to say it was like being inside something, not just surrounded by forest, but swallowed by it. The firs grew so close their branches interlocked above us, creating a ceiling of needles and shadow. But down low, at the height of a man crawling, there was space, room enough to move, room enough to die. We called it the cave. The bodies of the firs started close to the ground, thick trunks covered in rough bark that would tear the skin off your knuckles if you brushed against them wrong. Each tree locked together with the next, branch to branch, root to root. When artillery hit, and it hit constantly, the shells didn't just explode, they sheared through the tree trunks like a scythe, sent splinters the size of fence posts flying horizontal through. The dark, tree bursts, they called them. I saw a man cut in half by a flying log, just walking, then not walking, then in 2 pieces. The trees did that. The forest was the weapon. But on November 18th, something worse arrived. We'd taken a ridge the day before. It cost us 40 men for 200 yards of mud and stumps. Battalion command said we'd hold it through the night, then push east at dawn. There were 9 of us left from the original platoon, 9 out of 32. We'd been reinforced twice, lost the replacements faster than we learned their names. Hennessy was checking positions when I saw it coming. The fog. It started in the valley below us, pooling like milk in a bowl. White, dense, unmoving. I watched it fill the low ground between the trees, rising slowly, inexorably, like water flooding a ship's hold. "Jesus!" someone whispered behind me. Private Kowalski, kid from Chicago. I am 18 years old. "What the hell is that?" "Weather," Hennessy said, but his voice was tight. He saw it too, the wrongness of it. By 1600 hours, the fog had reached our position. It didn't drift in. It rolled over us like a wave. One moment I could see the tree line 50 yards ahead. The next moment I couldn't see my own boots. The world became white. Not bright white. Not clean white. The kind of white that absorbs light instead of reflecting it. The kind that makes you doubt whether you still have eyes. Visibility dropped to 20 yards. Then 10. Then 6. I put my hand out in front of my face. Couldn't see my fingers past the second knuckle. The fog wasn't just thick. It was heavy. You could feel it on your skin, cold and wet, like breathing underwater. It got in your lungs, your throat, made every breath taste like copper and decay. "Stay close," Hennessy ordered. "Nobody moves without a buddy. Nobody." We tried to obey. God knows we tried. But the forest had other plans. The first man to vanish was Private Morrison. He'd been on watch at the eastern edge of our position, dug into a foxhole with Private Ferretti. 2 men, 15 feet from my position. I could hear them talking, low voices, nervous jokes about the fog. Ferretti said something about his grandmother's pea soup. Morrison laughed. Then silence. Not sudden silence. Gradual. The way a radio signal fades when you drive out of range. Their voices got quieter, more distant, then stopped. I waited 5 minutes. 10. Called out, "Morrison? Ferretti?" Nothing. Hennessy crawled over to check. He was gone for maybe 2 minutes. When he came back, his face was grey. Empty, he said. Foxholes empty. No bodies, no blood, no shell casings, just empty. They can't have gone far, I said. In this? Hennessy gestured at the white wall surrounding us. They could be 10 feet away and we'd never find them. He was right. We called for them, shouted their names into the fog, heard nothing back, not a sound, not a footstep. It was like the forest had opened its mouth and swallowed them. Whole. That was when the fear started to change. Up until then, we'd been afraid of the Germans, afraid of artillery and snipers and flamethrowers, normal war fears, fears that made sense. This was different. This was the fear of dissolution, of ceasing to exist, of taking one wrong step and simply ending, not dying, ending, becoming part of the white nothing. Nobody moves, Hennessy said again. We dig in, wait for visibility. We waited. The fog got thicker. By 1800 hours, I couldn't see the man in the foxhole next to mine, and he was close enough to touch. I could hear him breathing, hear him shifting his rifle, hear him whisper prayers in Polish that I didn't understand, but I couldn't see him. Corporal Davies was his name. Good soldier, steady hands. He'd pulled me out of a crater once when German mortars pinned us down, carried me 20 yards on his back while tracers stitched the air above us. I listened to him pray for maybe 20 minutes. Then his breathing changed, got faster, panicked. Davies, I called. You okay? I heard something, he said. Movement. Out there in the fog. Germans? Don't know. Can't see. But something's moving. I listened, heard nothing but the wet silence of the forest, the drip of moisture from the branches, the distant boom-boom of artillery miles away, muffled by the fog into something that sounded almost peaceful. Stay calm, I told him. Could be anything. Could be a shot. Single crack of an M1 Garand. Davies had fired. Contact, he yelled. I saw something, right there in the... 3 more shots. Fast, panicked. Davies, cease fire. Cease fire. Silence. Then his voice, small and frightened. I thought I saw... What did you see? A man, walking through the fog, coming toward me. Did you hit him? I don't know. He walked into the white and disappeared. Was he armed? Couldn't tell. Couldn't see. Jesus Christ, I couldn't see. That's when Hennessy made the call that saved some of us and killed others. We're moving, he said. Staying here, we'll shoot each other. We link up with the 2nd platoon. They're 200 yards south. In this fog, someone asked, we'll get lost. We're already lost, Hennessy said. At least moving gives us a chance. So we moved. Walking through that fog was like walking through a dream you can't wake up from. Hennessy led. I was third in line, hand on the pack of the man in front of me. We'd learned this in training, in zero visibility. Maintain physical contact. Keep the line together. But training doesn't prepare you for this. Training doesn't tell you what happens when the man you're holding onto simply isn't there anymore. We'd gone maybe 50 yards when I realized the pack I was gripping felt wrong, too light, too soft. I looked down, couldn't see my hand, couldn't see anything, but I could feel the fabric under my fingers, feel the empty straps, feel nothing inside. The man in front of me had slipped out of his pack without me noticing, or he'd vanished, and I was holding his ghost. Hennessy, I called. Lost contact. The line stopped. We did a count. Started with 9 men. Now we were 7. 2 more are gone, including Corporal Davies. How? Someone whispered. How did we lose them? Nobody answered, because there was no answer. Men don't just disappear, but they had. They were disappearing. The fog was taking them one by one, and we couldn't stop it. Hennessy ordered another count, made each man sound off by name, made sure we were hearing voices, not imagining them. Hennessy, Walker, that was me, Kowalski, Chen, Rodriguez, Martinez, Sullivan, 7, still 7, good. We kept moving. The forest floor was treacherous. Snow covered everything, 2 feet deep in places, hiding roots and craters, and unexploded ordnance. Every step was a gamble. Every footfall could be solid ground or empty air or a mine planted by either side. We'd both been mining these woods for weeks. I watched my feet, couldn't see them, felt them sink into snow. I felt them hit something solid, felt the cold seeping through the leather into my socks. My toes had been numb for 3 days. I didn't know if I still had all of them. It didn't matter. Keep walking. The fog changed the sounds, made everything distant and close at the same time. I could hear my own breathing like it was somebody else's, could hear my heartbeat in my ears, could hear the wet crunch of boots on snow, but couldn't tell how many boots, couldn't tell if they were ours or theirs. That's when I heard the voices, German voices, faint, maybe 20 yards away, maybe 200. The fog played tricks with distance, swallowed some sounds and amplified others, but these were definitely German, sharp consonants, the rhythm of an argument. I froze, whispered forward, Hennessy, Germans, left side. The line stopped, dead silent. 7 men holding their breath in the white. We waited, listened. The voices continued, calm, conversational, like they were discussing the weather. Maybe they were. Maybe they were as blind and lost as us. Maybe they were 30 feet away. Maybe they were ghosts. Hennessy made a decision. We go around, slow, silent. We moved right, 1 step, 2, 3. The snow under my boots made sounds like breaking bones. The German voices stopped. Everything stopped. For maybe 30 seconds, there was no sound at all. No breathing, no movement, just the infinite silence of the fog and the forest and the fear. Then, where is Star? Who's there? We'd been heard. I don't know who fired first. Could have been them. Could have been us. Could have been nobody. And we all just imagined it in the fog madness that was taking us. But suddenly the air was full of gunfire. Muzzle flashes blooming yellow in the white like flowers in milk. The crack, crack, crack of Garans mixing with the faster chatter of German MG-42s. Tracers drawing lines through the fog that made no sense. Coming from directions that couldn't be right. Fall back, Hennessy was yelling. Fall back. But which way was back? I turned around. I saw nothing. Turned left. Nothing. Right. Nothing. Just white and the orange pulse of muzzle flash and the whistle of bullets cutting air I couldn't see. Someone screamed. American voice. Young. Could have been Kowalski. Could have been Martinez. Could have been any of us. I dropped flat. Crawled. The snow was red in places, black in others. I didn't look at it closely. Didn't want to know whose blood. Didn't want to count the bodies that were appearing in the fog like photographs developing in a dark room. The firing stopped. Silence again. Worse than before. I waited. Listened. Heard nothing. Hennessy? I whispered. No answer. Kowalski? Chen? Anyone? Nothing. I was alone. Completely, utterly alone. I stayed flat for maybe 10 minutes, maybe an hour. Time meant nothing in the fog. Could have been seconds, could have been days. I just lay there in the snow with my rifle aimed at white nothing, listening for any sound that would tell me where the living were, if there were any living left. Finally I moved. I had to move. Freezing to death was slower than a bullet, but just as final. I crawled first, kept low, felt ahead with my hands for bodies or mines or the edge of the world. Found snow, found more snow, found a tree trunk. I used it to pull myself up. Stood, listened, heard breathing, not mine, someone else's, close, maybe 6 feet away, maybe less. I couldn't see them. Identify yourself, I whispered. The breathing stopped. Silence. Then movement. The soft crunch of a boot shifting in snow. The metal click of a rifle bolt. The sound of a man preparing to fire. I had seconds, maybe less. Fire first and maybe kill a friend. Wait and maybe die. The breathing started again. Ragged, frightened. American, I said. 1st Battalion, 141st Infantry. Don't shoot. Silence. Then, Walker? Hennessy. The relief hit me so hard I nearly fell down. Yeah, I managed. Yeah, it's Walker. Jesus, Hennessy, I thought. I know, he said. I know. We found each other in the fog. Couldn't see faces, just shapes in white. But we grabbed onto each other like drowning men grabbing driftwood. The others? I asked. Gone. All of them. Kowalski took a round in the firefight. Chen and Rodriguez. I don't know. They were there. Then they weren't. Martinez ran. I heard him running. Then I heard him scream. Then nothing. Sullivan. Dead. Stepped on a mine maybe 20 yards from here. I heard it go off. I didn't see it. Just heard the sound. And then nothing. 2 left. Out of 32. 2. We stood there in the fog, holding on to each other, trying to figure out what the hell to do next. That's when I heard the other voices. English, American, coming from somewhere ahead in the fog, calling out. 2nd Platoon, Hennessy whispered. We made it. We actually made it. We started walking toward the voices, slow, careful, calling out our names and units so they wouldn't shoot us. 1st Platoon, Sergeant Hennessy and Corporal Walker, coming in, come ahead, someone yelled back. Slow, keep talking. We did, keep calling out. Keep walking. The voices got closer, closer. I could almost see them now. Shapes in the fog. 4, maybe 5. Men standing in a rough circle, rifles ready. Almost there, Hennessy said. 10 feet away. 8, 6. That's when one of the shapes spoke, in German. We'd walked into enemy lines. Time slowed down in a way it never had before. I saw Hennessy's hand move toward his rifle. Saw the German shapes turning toward us. Saw muzzle flashes starting to bloom. Saw everything and nothing, all at once, all in white. Then Hennessy grabbed my arm and pulled. We ran, blind, desperate, crashing through the fog like animals. Behind us, shouts in German, gunfire, the whip crack of bullets passing close enough to feel. We ran until the sounds faded, ran until we couldn't run anymore, ran until we collapsed in the snow, gasping, waiting for death. It didn't come. The fog saved us. The same fog that had taken our platoon, that had killed our friends, that had turned the forest into a ghost world. It saved us, swallowed us up, hid us in white silence. We lay there for hours, didn't move, didn't speak, just breathed, and listened and waited for dawn. It came eventually. All things do. The fog lifted around 600 hours, not all at once, gradually, like a curtain rising on a stage. First we could see 10 feet, then 20, then 50. By 0700 we could see the entire valley. It was empty. No Germans, No Americans, no bodies, no blood, just snow and stumps and the skeletal remains of fir trees blown apart by artillery. We'd been maybe 30 yards from our own lines. 30 yards. In the fog, it might as well have been 30 miles. We made it back to 2nd Platoon around 0800. They'd lost men too. Different men, different ways, but the same fog, the same white erasure. Battalion command sent out search parties after the weather cleared. Found some of our missing. Not all. Never all. Morrison and Ferretti were found 200 yards from their foxhole. Dead. Killed by German fire. They'd wandered away in the fog. Walked straight into an enemy patrol. Kowalski we found too, where Hennessy said he'd be. Single bullet. Clean kill. He was 18 years old. Davies found 3 days later. He'd shot himself. Pistol under the chin. His own weapon. In the confusion and the fear and the blindness, he'd chosen certainty over chaos. The others, Chen, Rodriguez, Martinez, Sullivan, we never found. The forest kept them. 9 men gone in a single night. Not from a battle, not from an assault or a bombardment. From fog, from fear, from the simple, terrible fact of not being able to see. The Hurtgen forest chewed up 3 more divisions after us. Took 33,000 American casualties over 3 months. Some estimates say more. Some say 55,000. I don't know the real number. I know 9 men I watched disappear into white nothing. 9 names I still hear when it gets quiet. 9 ghosts I still see when the morning mist rolls in across whatever field I happen to be standing in, wherever I am, whoever I'm with. Because that's what the fog taught me. We're all 9 feet from disappearing. All one step from the white. All one wrong turn from becoming the voice that calls out and gets no answer. Hennessy made it through the war, got back to Pittsburgh, saw his daughter grow up, died in his sleep in 1973. Heart attack, peaceful. I went to the funeral, paid my respects, looked at his daughter, grown woman now, married, kids of her own, and thought about that photograph in his helmet liner. Thought about the fog. Thought about how close we came to her never knowing her father at all. How close we all come, every day, to simply vanishing into white silence. I still wake up sometimes thinking I'm back there, in the cave, in the fog, reaching out for the man ahead of me and finding empty air. Still reaching, still finding nothing, still alone in the white. I was there, I remember it. The sound, the silence, the smell. War doesn't end. It only fades until someone else finds it again. Until then, I'll keep telling you what I saw, what I heard, what I lost in that white nothing. The 30 men who became 9, who became 2, who became ghosts in my memory. I'll keep telling you about the fog that takes everything, the white that swallows the whole, the silence that comes after the screaming stops. I'll keep telling you because someone has to remember. Someone has to speak their names into the quiet and hope someone hears. I hope they don't disappear completely. Hope the fog doesn't take them again. When the dark returns. When the war returns. After dark.